The only, the inevitable Ace Austin. Ace, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Here I am.
Here you are. It's been a while. Last time I saw you, you were tearing it up here in the UK at an event that I was an interviewer at. But now we're here to talk about Impact and talk about all the exciting things that you're getting up to at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that when I came over to the UK, I was X Division champion in my first run. And so many things have changed since then. I've been through so much, but yet here we are, full circle, two-time X Division champion yet again. And I might very well be coming over to the UK if things open up pretty soon again. So,
it is full circle, isn't it? It's full circle. We were here this time last year. You had the first reign. It was looking good. Everything was going great. And now we're back here again in your second term. And do you know what? Watching you every week has been incredible just to see the evolution of Ace Austin. And I want to get into all of that just in a short while. Before we do, though, because you've got a big match coming up, triple threat against TJP and Josh Alexander for the X Division title coming up this Sunday. Over the last couple of years, though, Impact has solidified itself as a must-watch promotion. The locker room that Impact Wrestling has today, for me, is arguably the strongest it's ever been. How do you see the recent evolution of Impact Wrestling?
Yeah, I know. I can do nothing but agree with that. It's that evolution that we're talking about that is the reason I chose Impact in the first place in 2018. When I was getting offers from all sides, Impact was the clear first choice for me. It was the best option for me to start because it was just such a group of people that were looking to really bring about some sort of change, because they were trying to turn around. They were at the time they were getting under new management. They were trying to do some rebranding. They were trying to just pull themselves out of the hole that the company had kind of fallen into because of other factors. So I kind of want to be a part of that process. That a process like that really opens up a door for new and fresh stars like me to thrive because there's no mold. There's no mold that I'm going to be forced to fit into, right? Because it's a whole company that's trying to recreate themselves. So it's the best opportunity for a young person like me to come in and really get to find myself and kind of create myself from scratch without being forced to do things I don't want to do. So not only that, but also just the locker room itself was just full of people that I was already familiar with, full of people that were my peers and also my mentors, guys like Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer. These were guys that I was turning to for help at that time, in my career, in my life. So what better way to work closer with them than to join the company? So yeah, it was the perfect choice. I do not, and I will not have any regret about that.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And you mentioned just a few of the names there. The locker room is at its best right now. And what's really good about Impact as well is you yourself have had such a great story when it comes to your Impact career. I mean, 8 months in, you capture the X Division title, and that was at Bound for Glory. The gimmick is born, and then you go on to have one hell of a run. You bring that title over to the UK. That's where we first met. And ever since then, you went into the world title picture, but now it has come full circle. Two-time X Division champion. You captured that at Sacrifice, defeating none other than TJP, who you're going up against this Sunday. How do you see your Impact career so far? And what does it mean to you to once again hold gold at Impact Wrestling?
I think that it's really the story of my career has been a whole lot of right place, right time. When I was young and I was coming up and I was working hard, I constantly found myself, just putting myself in the best position to succeed because I knew that I had the tools to succeed. Now, what I could have done Because I could have walked around and said, I'm really good. Everyone should know how good I am. And everyone should give me an opportunity because I'm really good. And you'll see how good. And like, I think that's the problem with a lot of like young wrestlers these days is they talk too much. They talk too much. Nobody wants to give you the time of day if all you do is talk. So I spent a lot of time just with my nose to the grindstone. I worked hard. I made people see what I could offer before I said a word. And it worked out well for me for years and years and years. And then 2018 was a huge year for me independently. And then I signed with Impact, and it was the same thing. I came into the company and people were like, okay, here's a new young kid. So I remained quiet for the first few months. And I went undefeated for 4 months. And it was like, okay, he's got something. He's got something. And then when it was finally time for Bound for Glory to roll around and I found myself in that ladder match, I knew going into that match that there was nobody in that match better equipped to win than me. But I didn't need to say that. I just had to show it. I just needed that moment to show it. And I did. And then after that, now I'm allowed to tell people how damn good I am because the proof is in the pudding. Like we have the plaques on my wall everywhere. I've got the 2-time reign. I've got the trophy. It has been an evolution in front of people's very eyes. I mean, you can't tell a more organic growth story than putting a 19-year-old in the ring on television in front of people and letting him grow up in front of your eyes. There's no made up story there. That was literally happening in front of everyone's faces. So I just like the right place, the right time. Like I said, Impact was looking for these new stars, these people to break out. And I knew I could be that person. So as soon as I was in that position, I decided I did it. I broke out. And now it's like, you got to strap the rocket to me because I'm the future. I'm what's going to carry this whole industry into the future.
And I couldn't agree more. And before I came onto this, I was speaking to a friend of mine, told him that we were about to sit down and do this interview. And his exact response was the future of professional wrestling right there. So it's not just yourself to be saying that and showing that. Other people are now seeing that for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, the X Division title, as you well know, has such an incredible history with so many awesome names. Obviously, you got the likes of AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, just to name a few. What does it mean to you now to be not 1-time, but 2-time X Division champion and to be carrying this prestigious belt into the modern era?
The first time I won the X Division title, there was just so many layers to how special that was for me. Like I said, going into that ladder match, I felt like nobody was better equipped for a few reasons. Athletically, of course, I felt like I had the edge in that match over everybody. But even more than that, growing up as a kid, the ladder match was my favorite thing. It was my favorite type of match to watch. And I always pictured myself being a ladder match guy. Wrestling as an independent wrestler, you don't get very many opportunities to do matches like that. And even if you do, it's often in some dangerous situations because, as we know, independent wrestling can get kind of sketchy sometimes. So like being able to just be in that match at all, sold out Chicago ladder match was huge. Going into it with that edge, and then finally just that moment of pulling it down was just like, I almost felt the history radiating off of the championship, just in my hands on top of that ladder. I really felt that energy. And when I carried that the first time, it's almost the same situation that I have when I work with a lot of these veterans in the business, right? When I find myself across the ring from guys like Tommy Dreamer, guys that I grew up admiring, I have to turn off those emotions because that's what separates, that's what separates a wrestler looking for an opportunity and a superstar is being able to perform at your maximum level in those moments. If I stepped in the ring with guys that I admired and I had that, I had that attitude of like, oh, admiration and respect, that's a weak point in my eyes. I have to turn those emotions off because the only option for me is walking out of this the winner, no matter who's across from me. So I look at the X Division title situation kind of the same way. There was a lot of history, a lot of lineage behind that title, but the only way I felt that I could cement my legacy, that I could make my history with the X Division title, was to go forth and make my own. I couldn't spend all my time as champion dwelling on the history of it. I have to go forward and make my own. So coming around this second time, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have an ulterior motive. Right now, the X Division title to me is my key to achieving the goal that I set for myself before Slammiversary last year. I want to be the youngest world champion in the history of Impact Wrestling, the youngest to ever be the face of this company. That's what I want. And option C is my fast track ticket to that. So this time around, being X Division champion, it's not so much about trying to represent the X Division. It's more so about myself. I have it for selfish reasons right now. I am totally in a selfish mindset. Okay. I want nothing more than to just utilize, to exploit what I have at my disposal to get to that ultimate goal.
I think that would be one hell of a story to tell as well, wouldn't it? To be the youngest ever Impact World Champion, and you did come up short at Slammiversary, but what a showing. I mean, what was that moment, going back to that moment at the curtain before you went out, knowing that this was your shot? What were your emotions at that time?
It was, I have to be honest, it was even bigger than so personally, the X Division title, the ladder match was personally fulfilling for me. But the Slammiversary main event was an even bigger deal than that, really. It was the main event of the biggest pay-per-view of this company's recent history. It was if I'm not mistaken, it's still the most, bought or viewed pay-per-view, in the history of Impact Wrestling so far. So like, being in the main event of that is nothing to be taken lightly at 23 years old. Whether I became the world champion or not, the story of Slammiversary was about me, despite what anyone will tell you. Okay, everybody thought it was about all these big names coming in and making surprise appearances, but it wasn't. The story of Slammiversary was me ruthlessly chasing down the world championship and letting nothing stand in my way. And coming up short was my biggest career failure. I have to be honest about it. It's the only thing that I didn't, get. Everything else I've chased after in my career so far up to that point, I took it. I chased after it and I took it. And I fell short. But out of that, the inevitable was born. Yeah. I use this inevitable moniker now because I may have lost at Slammiversary, but that doesn't mean I still won't do it. It's inevitable because I want it.
There we go. It's inevitable, and I can't wait. And what I hope is also inevitable, Ace, is obviously recently Impact Wrestling have opened the door to AEW. As a wrestling fan, obviously, we love that. So there's so many opportunities for this. Has this opened another door for Ace Austin as well? Is there anyone that you want to put on notice or on alert that you'd love to get in the ring with?
100%. And this is like, this is one of the big Twitter things. I know that Twitter really wants to see me and Sammy Guevara. Yeah. So that's, of course, a marquee match that I'd love to make money off of. And then as far as like, I think the ultimate test of my like physical ability would be a match with Pac. I think that I like to look at myself in a category of my own with guys like Ospreay, guys who are totally on another level of this that just can't be touched. And I think Pac is one of those guys, athletically, and just the power behind that man is just unmatched. So I think that would be just such a great test of not only my personal strengths, but also if I like, I find so many similarities there, but he's so much more experienced than I am. I want to know if that's a level that I could come up to. So yeah, of course there's that. And even with the Forbidden Door thing, I really want to spend some time in Japan. So I'm hoping that this Forbidden Door opens up some avenues to go to Japan for a while, because I that's definitely what my next when my time with Impact Wrestling is up. I want to spend some time in Japan, and I hope I can do that and still be a part of the company. If I can't, I that's something I really want to do, is spend time in Japan.
The second you mentioned Japan, already in my mind, I'm going dream matchup, dream matchup, dream matchup. There is so many. Japan is just a culture, isn't it, dude? It's the freak athletes, people who, it really is in a league of its own. So there's so many dream matchups there. Now, I know we're pressed for time, so I'm going to get this last question out here. Let's get into your match this Sunday, April 25th, Impact Rebellion on Fight TV. You step in the ring with two men who you're no stranger to. You have the likes of TJP, who you have a long history with, the walking weapon and friend of the show, Josh Alexander. How do you approach this match? Because you have arguably the best technical powerhouse in the business, and you also have TJP, who is arguably one of the most diverse quick guys in the industry right now. How do you approach this match on Sunday?
I think it's really easy to look at it as a disadvantage. I think that too many people have told me that I have two opportunities to lose, but that's not how I see it. The glass is half full for Ace Austin. I have two opportunities to win in that match against two people who I know I can beat. My only problem here is I'm still not totally sure what it's going to take to keep Josh Alexander down. I don't have enough, especially one-on-one experience with Josh Alexander, to really know where his limits lie, and to really know like what his weaknesses might be. He can really take hits and kind of just keep going. I've never seen anybody take the kind of abuse in a career that he has, coming back from his crazy neck injury and being almost forced to give it up, and then finally getting his due, years overdue with Impact. He is the unpredictable factor in this match, I think. But all I have to do, not all I have to do, but one of my options, very much so, is to just neutralize that, and then go for the win on TJP. That could work for me. Or I could let the two of them try to work circles around each other and just find my opportunity, right? There's so many avenues I could take here. I don't have to face either of them head on if I don't want to. So yeah, I see nothing but advantages and edges here for me. This is just
It's an interesting way of looking at it. And just over a year ago, you told me in an interview here in the UK, you may have seen some of Ace Austin's greatest hits, but there's plenty of things that you haven't seen before. Is this going to be the case on Sunday?
I think so, really. How many triple threat matches have you seen Ace Austin in? This is a very unique situation for all of us. I think all of us are going to have to reach into this bag of tricks reach into our bags of tricks to make something happen here at Rebellion on Sunday. And not to mention the fact that it's huge. It has, Rebellion almost feels like it has the same implications that Slammiversary did last year. This whole Forbidden Door, this title versus title match is going to bring so much attention to Rebellion that I am literally, I feel my body tingling, buzzing with the kind of energy, because I know how much attention is going to be on me. And I love that attention. That is where I thrive. If there aren't enough eyes on me, I'm not satisfied. And this is going to be more eyes than pop. This could be more eyes than Slammiversary. And if not, it's going to be just as many. So I have to make up for that failure at Slammiversary Rebellion on Sunday. I have to.
There you go. It is going to be one hell of an event. Don't forget to tune in to Impact Rebellion Sunday the 25th on Fight TV. Also, make sure that you do catch Impact every week on Impact Plus. One last word from Ace.
Hey, Rebellion on Sunday. X Fusion Championship. Okay. Whether I keep it or not, Ace Austin is the future of the industry. That's the common thread here. It's inevitable.